He's as well a location to that more than rather than 31,000 of their comrades include defected above the history 6 many decades, a reality not lose on Polar Korea, that isn't take any chances in its deputation the period. Polar Korean athletes include defected up. A female's ice hockey gamer defected in 1997 and a judo sportsman defected time at a contest in Spain in 1999. Time hardly. It isn't unfeasible for a term of Polar Korea's Pyeongchang deputation to flaw as the planet watches the games, and it would be both of a enormous confusion for the polar, and geopolitic chaos for Army Southward Korea. Defections hardly now residing in Southward Korea following deserting in 2006, Han search engine optimization. He was selected in her 20 years to be portion of a Polar Korean cheerleader company following she executed for deceased lead Kim Jong Illinois. She says he's hardly how cheerleaders would flaw for such a top-profile trip. The crew would be controlled anywhere they go and would be strongly aware of the ensuing consequences their household would person were they to do such a go, Han says. I wouldn't include though deliberate he. Han says. It will be the identical for the cheerleader team the period. They include household behind household, they aware if they flaw, their household will be frightened and punished. A Polar Korean team shipped overseas is EverCom of 3 parties. Side members, safety members and administration members. The period will be the identical. No period 1. The ruthless blinding of social study would be intensive, though frightening, for any sportsman competitive in the games, that formally start Friday. He told crew members would be by 24/7 observation, incapable to go to the bathroom 1 and informants would display who is speaking to whom. Han told the really environment of Polar Korean lifetime tool all is emboldened to see for extraordinary or suspect behavior in friends or household and paper it. No just the leaders but as well the otherwise of the performers will be punished for not accountability suspect signs of a deserter. Intense learning. The Polar Koreans already in Pyeongchang include been engraved by print anywhere they go. In largest cases, they offer disciplined smiles and slight answer to the barrier of questions, though at Thu's hospitable right for Polar Koreans at the Gangneung athletes' countryside several of the deputation were noticeably relaxation as the rite progressed, though give her the Olympic talisman Suharang top 5. Han told she was said not to say if she went overseas, to disregard journalists' questions and not to do I-pin. We were educated man how we would be shipped to Southward Korea not just to cheerlead but as well to boasting on our lead. We were said how we should get the struggle to the cardiac of our enemies. In isolation? The Polar Korean athletes include undertaken 3 floors of lodging in the Gangneung Spartakiada countryside. Every flat has 2 or more than beds. The Polar Koreans would not be stay in rooms 1, on to the ex-police force official. The athletes include done their present named by suspended of a box a large Polar Korean banner how relating all 3 floors. Such a go how could earth you in prison on a regular date, but these Olympic Games are not regular and the banner is permitted by the World Olympic Board. The performance art company has been stay on board the Manjeong Bung ferry boat that driven them to the southward the 1 week, and lightweight way to defend the Polar Korean band of both of protesters and seduction. But Han says such during the company would be of a nice backdrop and loyalist to the mode so thoughts of breach would be hardly. Study continues behind household Lee Chul-sung, the chief of Southward Korean police force in accusation of safety for the games, says Polar Korea was not permitted to give its own formal safety and he has organized a individual box crew to escort Polar Korean delegations where they go. I wouldn't go so far as to say the athletes are in isolation, but they are separate of the some athletes. We will include additional safety for them. Lee says down there are as well Southward Korean Guard constantly external their residing room to hold the delegations safe. Little protests include erupted where they go, in several in Southward Korea. Irate the doorway has been outdoor to Polar Korea out of the nation possessing to do any acquiescence on its nuke rocket program. The study and observation as well wouldn't easy up one day they were behind household, he says. The athletes, performers and cheerleaders would be object to reviews, debriefs, and investigations to discover out how every man provided their nation to the external planet.